Greetings, youth workers. Paul Turner here from thediscipleproject.net, here with another video on the 5 misconceptions of youth pastors and how to overcome them. If you're brand new here to the channel, thanks for visiting. Appreciate you hanging out with me for a little while. If you're not a subscriber yet, hit that subscribe button. Would love to have you as a part of the community. And if you're a regular, thank you as always for joining me. We're going to jump into today's lesson, if you want to call it a lesson, but it's an insight, if you will, on these misconceptions. And today's misconception, we're talking about distractions. If you missed the last one was about being disorganized. And if you'd like to click on that, I'll leave a link right there on the screen. I do want to advise you that this is a Kanye-free episode. That's right, a Kanye-free episode. So you're welcome. Before we jump into today's episode about distractions, can I interest you in a resource that is going to help you get more organized and maybe limit your distractions? This is my Youth Ministry Playbook 2020. It is jam-packed with forms, how to get your year started right. It's filled with articles. It's got places where you can, have creative space. It's got a teaching preaching schedule. It has calendars and questions and even a monthly to-do list. So if you're interested in that, there'll be a link down in the description below for the My Youth Ministry Playbook 2020. I hope that you'll check it out. So let's go ahead and jump into today's discussion about distraction. I know you think that by the picture I'm going to talk about technology, and I will, but the first thing I want to talk about is the weight of personal problems. Listen, we all go through problems. We all go through things that weigh us down, that are distractions. They are, whether that's how you're going to pay the bills, whether that's a marital problem, whether that's a kid in your youth ministry that you're concerned about, whatever it is, we all struggle with the weight of our problems, which is why prayer is so important. It is an opportunity for us to kind of dump our feelings out, dump our problems at the foot of the cross and at the empty tomb. It is a place where you have to spend some time to work through this. Otherwise, you're going to be thinking about all these distractions. You're going to be thinking about that person that's angry at you. You're going to be thinking about the kid that won't come. You're going to be thinking about all those things. And yes, those are important. Those are things that you have to work through. But let me encourage you that prayer must be the number one thing on your list. If it's not, it's going to be a struggle for you to break through and really focus on what you want to focus on, because you're going to be constantly distracted by the weight of your personal problems. So cultivate a good prayer time with the Lord, and you're going to find out that you're going to be able to focus a lot better. Remember that Peter reminds us to cast all your anxiety on him because he cares for you, and he does care for you. So lay it before his feet. Another distraction that I think church people have this perception about youth workers, that we're consumed with entertainment and culture. And that may be true for some of you, but for many of you it may not. But it can become a distraction to your work. Remember, you're trying to minister to a generation of young people who are themselves distracted by entertainment and culture. So how then do we show them that, listen, I don't have to always be connected. I don't always have to do that. Well, maybe that's not talking about culture as much in the sense of what you've been watching or what you've been doing. I know that all has its place, but there has to be at some point where you change the perception that all you care about or all that you're interested in, all that you can talk about is cultural things. And there has to be some pushback on that to say, look, there needs to be time of quiet. There needs to be time to say no to the most binge-worthy thing on television or the most binge-worthy YouTube channel, whatever that is for you. Maybe it's time to do an audit. Maybe it's time to take a look and say, what have I been binging? What have I been watching? And so much of our youth ministry lives are filled with knowing what, young people know. And that may be the thing that is killing your time, and you're getting that perception of always being distracted because you're not focused on actually building the youth ministry. You're not actually focused on the programming. You're not actually focused on what's going on in the church because you're trying to keep up with kids. The other part of that is you're trying to please or find time for yourself. And there are times when we can do that as youth pastors and as people and as human beings in general, and I encourage that. But there can be an over medication, if you will, of our souls because we're just ingesting so much entertainment, so much culture, so much internet, all those things. I would ask you then to say, look, if I'm feeling distracted, is it because I'm overstimulating myself with having to find or so much, about what my teens are into, or are you consuming so much entertainment or culture to, once again, medicate your soul a little bit, to say, look, I need some painkillers here to get away from all of this. And is it going too far? Well, only you know that. But I would encourage you to do an audit on your consumption of internet, culture, entertainment, any of those things, and then go from there. Remember, you can't do big things if you're distracted by small things. You can't do big things if you're distracted by small things. So maybe the entertainment, culture, all that stuff is a distraction, and it's the small things that are keeping you from achieving the big things. The third distraction I want to talk about is technology. And I know what you're going to say, Paul, how can I reach this generation if I am not into the technology? I'm not saying don't be into the technology. I'm saying that youth workers, especially younger youth workers, can get a bad rap, and the perception is that all you do is you're always on your phone, you're always have your computer with you, and once again, those are not necessarily bad. That's a perception. How do you then go and fight that perception with your pastor or your whoever has the bad perception about you? And I think if you will treat your technology as a tool and not a toy, I think you will begin to change perceptions about that. I also think that if you are focused, and whether that's, being the example during service and not being on your phone, maybe that's using your Bible, a physical Bible, instead of the Bible on your phone. Maybe that's making sure that you don't always have your phone out at functions, that you're actually engaging and talking with people to where people don't always see you on your phone. And I understand there's times when you have to take pictures, there's times when you're texting somebody, all those things. I think the main deal is in the distraction department is simply changing the perception that you don't always have, because not everybody sees that it's a tool, and they think maybe you're just playing Candy Crush or you're playing whatever game on there. And part of changing that is saying, look, this is a tool. I use it to be able to communicate with youth. I'd be able to use it to make graphics. I do things like that. And they don't see all that. All they see is you or me on a device. So figure out how you can have more face-to-face time, or to be able to put your devices away when engaging with others around you, so that they can see into your eyeballs and they can kind of, reconnect with you as a human being and not just as somebody who's always on their device. I want to leave you with this quote from C.S. Lewis. It says, "We are always falling in love or quarreling, looking for jobs or fearing to lose them, getting ill and recovering, following public affairs. If we let ourselves, we shall always be waiting for some distraction or other to end before we can really get down to our work. The only people who achieve much are those who want knowledge so badly that they seek it while the conditions are still unfavorable. Favorable conditions never come." The temptation will always be there for us to give into the weight of our problems, or to dive into entertainment and culture, or to be on our devices, or get into new technologies. What we have to remember is that there is still work that needs to be done. There are no favorable conditions. We have to deal with all of these things so that the work of ministering to this generation, or to build our youth ministry, if that is what we are being called upon to do, that work gets done in spite of the distractions that are all around us. So I'd love to know, why are you being distracted, if you're being distracted, and what are those big distractions? What do you find is getting in the way of you getting your work done at the church or in the youth ministry or wherever it may be? I would love to know. Leave me a comment down below, because next week is the Wheel of Winning, and I'm going to spin this wheel and you're going to win something, but the only people that can win are the people who comment. So leave me a comment down below. What is your biggest distraction? And thanks for joining me today, guys. Appreciate you being a part of the program today, and I will catch you guys in the next video.